But they had the WLC match on the pre-show. And the WLC match, I have to say, I enjoyed that. And I said that last week. I said this could turn out, if it's not just bad comedy, and it was made for comedy, but if it wasn't just bad comedy, if they actually had a match, this could turn out to be pretty entertaining, and that's exactly what they did. These little guys went in there, and they had what probably was the third best match on the entire show. The Shield match was number 1. Bryan and Kane I'd put number 2. WLC was in the top 3. On this, I would rather see 10 WLC matches than the John Cena Bray Wyatt cage match on that show. These guys went out there, they worked hard, they did all these, I was going to say high spots, maybe that's not the right word for it, but they're bringing out ladders, they're bringing out tables, and even the guys, 3MB's out there, the Matadors are out there. Drew McIntyre is a madman. At one point, he did a flip dive over the top rope. Nobody caught him, he just landed right on the mat, on the thin mats on the floor. It was crazy. It just complete insanity. This was one of those matches you would see back in the Attitude Era. All these wacky, crazy spots with tables and ladders and chairs and shit, and guys just beating the crap out of their own bodies. That's what this match was. It was a car crash. But the bigger point I want to make here is that you can build a minis division around these guys. You can build a minis division specifically around El Torito, because El Torito, when he's in there and he's doing his thing, is awesome. But at some point, it gets a little old with Torito and Hornswoggle. You need more people. You need more minis. The women died a death on this show. I felt bad for Tamina. I felt bad for Paige. It's Paige's first title defense on pay-per-view, and it wasn't a very good match. And it wasn't, you know what, I take that back. It wasn't even that the match was bad. It was that the crowd was dead. The crowd was dead because they just came off that Shield Evolution match from earlier, which was awesome. And they came off whatever the fuck that thing was between Cena and Wyatt, which was terrible. It killed the crowd. So these women go out there before the main event, and they never stood a chance. And I'm tired of seeing it. And something has to change. Well, if you want a buffer match, if you had a minis division, why not let the little guys be the buffer and actually give the women some breathing room? Let the women open the show. Put the women in the second match on the show. Don't put them in a position to fail. The minis are going to go out there, and people are going to laugh, and they're going to be entertained. And it's good comic relief. It's good relief between, let's say, the two main events. The women do not deserve to be in that position on every single show. They died a death at WrestleMania because people couldn't believe the streak ended. Nobody cared. I mean, that whole women's battle royal, I was in the building. It's like a blur. I barely remember anything that happened. So I say, build a minis division, which can be very entertaining, and make them the buffer on these pay-per-view shows from now on, and move the women up the card a little bit. Give them a few extra minutes, and move them up the card so whether they're out there for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, at least they have a shot at getting the crowd into their match, and the crowd isn't just sitting there on their hands. As long as they insist on putting them on right before the main event every single month, it's going to be the same thing over and over again. And Paige is going to go out there, and she's going to defend her title, and nobody's going to give a shit. And maybe that starts to fuck with her head. Maybe that tells people backstage, hey, this is not working. People don't care about her as champion, or people don't care about the women. They don't care because you put them in a position to fail. You've got these minis. You can build it up. Put them in the buffer match. That's what I would do.